Hello, Facebook. Hi. How are you? Oh my goodness. So I was sitting here working and I realized something crazy. Do you want to know what it was? I realized that there are so many new people here that you probably don't know who I am. And you don't know a lot of my story. And you don't know a lot about my history. So I wanted to come live and have a little chat with you about me and who I am. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the Graceful Revolution because it's magic. So if you're here, tell me you're here. I can't tell if you're here unless you comment and you say hi to me. So say hi to me so that I know that you are present and here because I can see some 3 little eyeballs, but I don't know who you are. So tell me you're here. And oh my goodness, my hair is like so funny right now. Okay. That's not even better. Anyway, so, sorry, my hair distracts me when I go live, and it's so red, my hair. So I wanted to take a minute and have a little chat with y'all and introduce myself to you, and also introduce you to Boris. This is Boris. Boris is my favorite mug. He was given to me I just ordered him. Nobody gave him to me. I bought him myself because no one would get him for me. So anyway, he carries my tea all the time, and I love him. So, he even has cute feet. What is this? It's magic. I love unicorns. I'm a big fan of unicorns. Please don't buy me any. I have too many as it is. Anyway, I love Boris, and I love unicorns. So, but really, what I wanted to do was tell you a little bit about who I am and how I came to this ridiculousness that is my life. So, I grew up in Salt Lake, in Utah. I grew up in Salt Lake and Park City, Utah. Yes, for those of you who ski, I did grow up in the small town of Park City, Utah, not the big town of Park City, Utah. So back when I was there were a couple of 100 people in the high school and not much else was going on. I was always a troublemaker. I was always getting in trouble in one way or another. At one point, I snuck out with my friend Layla, who is still my friend. And I snuck out with my friend Layla to go see my boyfriend, Dave Irby, who was a skate punk. And we got caught, but we didn't know we got caught until Layla and I went to the movie theater the next day together, and our mothers came in, and my mother dragged me out of the movie theater by my hair in front of all my friends from high school. And it was horrifying. So just so you know, I've always been a troublemaker. I live in the lovely and fabulous Corvallis, Oregon, where I run my business out of my house. And I live with the lovely and fabulous James Thomas Kelly, who is a 2-time war veteran and is going to school full-time at Oregon State University. I live with Caitlin Christine Kelly, who is 17, Gwendolyn Alice Kelly, who is almost 12, and Sean Jameson Kelly, who is 9. They are my babies, and they are my loves, but I did not give birth to them. They came to me via Jim, and that is a love story for another day. But I have blogged about this a couple times. I have always wanted children and cannot have my own children of my body. And so Jim lovingly and supportively provided me with free. It's fabulous. I live with 2 dogs. Dakota Justice is my standard poodle, my black standard poodle, who I grew up with standard poodles. And so I wanted a standard poodle, so I got one. And Potato. And Potato is a French bulldog who Caitlin had wanted a Frenchie since she was 9, and she saved her money and she got a Frenchie. So I'm very happy for her. So Potato is our French bulldog. We also have a 3-legged cat named Mrs. Dinkles. She was born that way. She's a delightful little tiny thing that Dakota tries to eat on a regular basis. So that's our little family. I used to be the lobbyist for Planned Parenthood of Utah. I used to work for Equality Utah, which is Utah's LGBT political action group. I have a master's degree in social work and a PhD in social work, and I have a bachelor's degree in human development because I wanted to teach preschool for my entire life. All I wanted to do was teach preschool. That's all I looked forward to doing in my whole entire existence of being. But guess what? We don't pay preschool teachers a living wage, and so I had to quit teaching preschool and actually get a job. So I taught preschool for a number of years, and then I went back and got a master's degree. And that has led me on this really crazy path. Hi, Jackie. It's nice to see you. So this has led me on this really fascinating path since the minute I got my master's degree in social work in 2003. 16 years later, here I am working as a life coach and a public speaker and an author. I've written 2 books. One book is called Because We Chose to Love You, and it's a book for all children and their families. And the artwork in that book is original artwork by my friend Christina Schmidt, who used to be a therapist with me, a child therapist with me when I taught at a preschool for behavior disorder kids. So I wrote that book way back in the 90s. I think it was in the 90s that I wrote that book. And then we self-published it. It was delightful. We had 500 copies made, and we sold 420 or 80 of them. And then she just sent me the other 20, and I just started giving them away. So they're gone now, and they're no longer in existence. So maybe I'll write another book with that ISBN. I don't know. And then I have another book that I wrote for social workers, which is, by the way, one of the highest selling book for Sage publishers in the last year. It is called Careers in Social Justice Advocacy, or Sage Careers in Social Justice Advocacy, or something like that. And it is, you can buy it on Amazon. It's magic. And it is to help social workers identify that they don't have to be clinicians, that they can actually engage in social justice work and change the world and get a job and get hired to do that. So that's my other book. For those of you who don't know me very well, I drive a Camaro. For some of you who have only known me for the last 3 years, you might think that's what I've always driven. But actually before that, I drove a Toyota Corolla because it was sensible and I had to commute back and forth between Anaheim and Los Angeles. And then one day my Corolla broke down and Jim said, you need a car that reflects your personality. And I said, well, then I'm buying a bitchin' Camaro. And that is how I got Hillary, the bitchin' Camaro. I bought her right before the 2016 election. Hi, Becca, how are you? I bought her right before the 2016 election. And her name is Hillary, and I love her. And she's the greatest thing ever. And she has bad tires. And so I can't drive her today, which makes me sad. We moved to Oregon because I didn't want to move back to Utah after I finished my PhD at USC. And I didn't want to go back to Utah. And I wanted to live somewhere quiet with Jim where we could raise our family and have a happy life. And that is why we're in Corvallis, Oregon. For those of you that hate the rain, don't ever come here. For those of you that love the rain, I love it too. It makes me super happy. And I enjoy it here immensely. And I'm never leaving because it's awesome. In 2017, I went on a retreat to a castle in Scotland, much to my husband's chagrin, with Susan Hyatt. And while I was there, I was laying in a forest on a bed of leaves, and I was dreaming, and I was meditating, and I was hearing all these messages from the universe, and the messages were, witch, get it together. So I started thinking up what it would be like to be on a stage in front of thousands of people talking about really important things that I think are important, like slaying the patriarchy and women finding a voice and how to tap into your message and being rebellious and the idea that we've been silenced because we're dangerous, and how do we talk about taking a deep breath and soaking it all in and not being in such a damn hurry all the time, and how do we talk about really being visible and present and rebellious because they can't erase us anymore and they can't silence us anymore. And so while I was laying there in that castle, in that forest, I talked to Susan Hyatt about what I should do with the rest of my life. And we decided that I would start this business called Bird Girl Industries. So I started Bird Girl in 2017, and I launched it, and I had a really adorable website that I put together myself, and it was for Tinder, and it was a mess. And I started blogging, and all of a sudden people started following me, and I created a freebie in Microsoft Word that was the ugliest free thing you could ever get in your life. It was so dumb. And that didn't work very well at all. So I wrote a new freebie about finding your voice that's on my website now on naturalbornrebel.com. And I started Bird Girl Industries. And one of the reasons I started doing Facebook Lives was that I was not getting any speaking gigs. And I was crying one day to my coach, Susan Hyatt. And I was like, why won't anyone hire me? And she's like, nobody knows who you are. And I'm like, oh. I mean, I was being ridiculous, y'all. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then something magic happened. Susan Hyatt said, build your own fucking stage, Missy Bird. And that's exactly what I did. I built my own fucking stage. And that, my friends, is 2 years, almost 2 years worth of Facebook Lives every Monday and Friday for almost 2 years. And the reason I stopped doing them every 2 years is because people stopped watching them. So I was like, why would I get on there and do this? Because I'm not interacting with anyone like the lovely Jackie and the lovely Becca. So I quit doing them for a minute. Well, I'm really excited to announce that they're back. So I will be going live on Facebook every Wednesday. I'm switching it up, people. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I am going to be talking about all sorts of really, really magical and amazing things. And I want to tell you a little bit about what I'm going to talk to in the coming weeks. I'm going to talk about the myth of original sin and how it was created to keep women in their place. I'm going to talk about the tension of the Madonna and the whore. You're lovely, and I love seeing your face too, Becca Freebie. I'm going to talk about how we have to walk the line between being the Madonna and the virgin and the whore and the bitch, and how the Graceful Revolution fits into that. I'm going to be talking about how Woman Love Wednesday. Yes! I'm glad I'm on your calendar, Becca Freebie. It's going to be good. I'm going to be talking about how my Holy Trinity is made up of the three Marys. Sometimes I pray to God, the Holy Ghost, and Jesus, but most of the time I pray to the three Marys, my Grandma Mary, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene. So I hope you'll join me for that one. I'm also going to be talking about holy defiance, loving your neighbor by defying the patriarchy. The womb of the divine feminine, and how we can really just start messing up some stuff and really getting into spirituality and witchcraft. I'm going to talk a lot about Christianity and witchcraft and how I identify as a Christian witch. And I'm really going to be digging into some very hard conversations, because here's what I know for sure. I was given a prophecy by God in 2014. And it is the Graceful Revolution. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I rolled over, I picked up my phone, and I typed a note on my phone. And that note is the foundation for the Graceful Revolution process that I have created. That note said that I believe in a new brand of advocacy where we humble ourselves to our shortcomings and engage in acts of graceful revolution that truly change the way we think about people's lives. The Graceful Revolution is about honing in on a message that is so tight and so divine from passion and love that everybody can hear you when you speak that message. The Graceful Revolution is about taking how you feel about what's happening in this world, figuring out who you can connect with and communicate about it, coming up with a clear message so you can stand up on your soapbox and project it out into the world, so that you can gain action and clarity and confidence from speaking that message into the world. It will not only help you feel better about yourself, but the Graceful Revolution is about spreading love to other people. It is about not being part of the resistance, but actually creating things from which we can expand. Because what we resist persists, which is why we still have the orange Cheetos sitting in office. It's why we still have all this tension that we can't quite break. It's why women shame other women for their choices and their decisions, because what we resist persists. But what we give grace to and what we give love to and what we really embrace about the gifts that we are given, and when we come up with that message to spread those gifts into the world, then that is how we create revolution. That is how we expand the passion that has been in with all of us that we are trying to express, that we're having the hardest time doing. And that's why I created the Graceful Revolution. I created the Graceful Revolution because I really wanted to take this prophecy that God gave me in the middle of the night at 3:30 in the morning and spread it out into the world. I was just at a conference a couple of days ago over the weekend, and one of the people said, a prophet is someone who calls bullshit on what's happening. And that is me. And it took me a long time to be able to embrace this idea. Even though person after person after person kept calling me a prophet, I was like, oh, no, not Dr. Bird. No, I'm just a girl. I have nothing to say. People are like, oh, no, I think you have plenty to say. That is why I created the Graceful Revolution. That is why I wanted to come live here today and introduce myself to you. Because some of you are just getting to know me in the last year or two. Some of you have known me for 45 years. Some of you have known me for 10 or 20 years. But let me just tell you something. I am ready to take y'all to the next level of awesome. I am ready to help you find that place inside of your heart that is really, really looking to get out and spread itself and expand. I am ready to walk beside you and behind you and help propel you into that place so that you can feel like you are giving everything you are meant to give to this world. Because what I know for sure is that we have been silenced. We have been disenfranchised. We have been stepped on and abused, and we are done. Every single one of us, no matter what our background is, it doesn't matter if we're conservative or liberal, Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter if we're men or women, we are dying here to let ourselves out and to be expansive and bright and beautiful in this world that seems so dark and dim and like it's going nowhere. So the reason I wanted to come to you today was to let you know not just who I am, but I wanted to remind you that over the next, all the way through Christmas, I'm going to be coming here every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, and I'm going to be talking to you about why, hi Liz, I'm going to be talking to you about why the Graceful Revolution is so important. I'm going to be talking to you about why it is that we have got to break down this shame and these walls of indifference and really start to talk about how we can no longer afford to criticize each other for our choices and the decisions that we have made in this world. I'm going to be coming to you regularly to tell you why I want to remind you that you are deeply connected to spirit and you aren't as wounded as you thought you were. And that if you have been questioning and if you have been wondering and if you have been seeking, then I am the person that you want to be connected with. I am the person, if you have been seeking and wandering and not knowing quite what to do, I am the person who is offering programs and material so that you have the ability to formulate a message that's so strong that it comes from that passionate source and that life source that's within and inside of you. I'm here to tell you that the reason I created my upcoming program, hi Geneva, my upcoming program, the Graceful Revolution, that starts on October 23rd, I created that program because that program is everything you have been asking for that I have been watching you ask for on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. It is the connection to source. It is the way and the model for you to be able to go from how you feel about what is happening in this nation to how you connect with the people that can help you the most, how you can hone in on your message so that you can take action and gain clarity and confidence from that action so you can do that whole thing over again. So if you have questions about the Graceful Revolution and what it means and what it can give you, ask me. You can find me through Messenger. You can find me on email. You can find me at naturalbornrebel.com. I will put a little link to the Graceful Revolution that's coming up in the comments here. I want you all to know that the reason I do this work is because I want to give you the prophecy of the revolution. I want to give you the tools to infiltrate the membranes of power so that you can go out and shift the way things happen in your communities. I want to give you everything that I learned getting a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a damn PhD so that you can go out into the world and you don't have to pay that damn tuition to do it. I want to give you the gifts that I've been given by the divine, by being a healer and a witch and a prophet and a Christian and a bisexual woman who's married to a man, feminist, rocking, hard rocking, punk rock girl. I want to give you all of these gifts because that is why I am here. So I hope you've enjoyed this reintroduction or introduction of myself. I hope you are really super clear about why it is that I'm doing this work. And if you're not, then ask me the questions because I really want to connect and communicate with you. I don't just come on here to hear myself talk. In fact, I cannot stand the sound of my own voice. So I don't usually go back and listen to what I say. But if this resonated with you, if you're curious about what I have going on, I would really, really, really love for you to let me know. I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful day. I just realized what time it was and I have to go record a podcast interview. Love you. Bye.